Hey friends, it's Mrs. Hebler here, and I'm so excited because we are going to be continuing The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo today. And we have already met a lot of characters in our story. But really, right now, we are reading in book the third, and we are meeting our character, Miggery Sal. Now, Miggery Sal, we know, has had a really horrible past. Remember, she can't hear because she was getting those good clouts to the ear. But now we've just left off with she is finally going to the castle. And she's going to be working at the castle instead. So today we are going to start on chapter 29, and it's titled Start with the Kersey and Finish with the Thread. Miggery Sal's luck continued. On her first day on the job as a castle servant, she was sent to deliver a spool of red thread to the princess. Mind, said the head of the serving staff, a dour woman named Louise. She is royalty, so you must make sure you curtsy. How's that? Shouted Mig. You must curtsy, shouted Louise. Gore, said Mig. Yes'm. She took the spool of thread from Louise and made her way up the golden stairs to the princess's room, talking to herself as she went. Here I am, off to see the princess, me, Miggery Sal, seeing the princess up close and personal like, and first off I must curtsy because she is the royalty. At the door to the princess's room, Mig had a sudden crisis of confidence. She stood a moment, clutching the spool of thread and muttering to herself. Now, how did that go? She said. Give the princess the thread and then give her a kersey? No, first the kersey and then the thread. That's it. Gore, that's right. That's the order. Start with the kersey and finish with the thread. And she knocked on the princess's door. Enter, said the princess. Mig, hearing nothing, knocked again. Enter, said the princess. And Mig, still hearing nothing, knocked yet again. Maybe, she said to herself, the princess ain't no home. But then the door was flung wide, and there was the princess herself staring right at Miggery Sal. Gore, said Mig, her mouth hanging open. Hello, said the P. Are you the new serving maid? Have you brought me my thread? Kersey I must, shouted Mig. She gathered her skirts, dropped the spool of thread, stuck a foot out, and stepped on the spool, rocked back and forth for what seemed like quite a long time, both to the watching princess and the rocking Mig, and finally fell to the floor with a Miggish thud. Whoopsie, said Miggery Sal. The P could not help it. She laughed. That's all right, she said to Mig, shaking her head. It's the spirit of the thing that counts. How's that? Shouted Mig. It's the spirit of the thing that counts, shouted P. Thank you, miss, said Mig. She got slowly to her feet. She looked at the princess. She looked down at the floor. First the kersey, then the thread, Mig muttered. Pardon? Said the P. Gore, said Mig, the thread. She dropped to her hands and knees to locate the spool of thread. When she found it, she stood back up and offered it to the P. I brought you your thread, didn't I? Lovely, said the princess as she took the thread from Mig. Thank you much. I cannot seem to hold on to a spool of red thread. Every one I have disappears somehow. Where's the red thread going, guys? We do have a picture right here of Mig falling. Are you making a thing? Asked Mig, squinting at the cloth in the P's hand. I am making a history of the world, my world, said the P, in tapestry. See, here is my father, the king, and he is playing the guitar because that is something he loves to do and does quite well. And here is my mother, the queen, and she is eating soup because she loves soup. Soup! Oh, that's against the law! Yes, said the princess. My father outlawed it because my mother died while she was eating it. Your ma's dead? Yes, said the P. She died just last month. She bit her bottom lip to stop it from trembling. Ain't that the thing, said Meg. My ma is dead too. How old were you when you died? Old was I? said said Mig, taking a step back away from the princess. I'm sorry then. No. How old were you? Shouted the pea. Not but 6, said Mig. I'm sorry, said the princess. She gave Meg a quick, deep look of sympathy. How old are you? 12 years. So am I, said the princess. We're the same age. What is your name? She shouted. Meggery Sal, but most just calls me Meg. And I saw you once before, princess. You passed by me on a white little horse. On my birthday I was in the field with Uncle Sheep, and it was sunset time. Did I wave to you? Asked the princess. Did I wave? Shouted the bee. Yes, nodded Meg. But you didn't wave back, said the princess. I did, said Meg, only you didn't see. Someday I will sit on a little white horse and wear a crown and wave. Someday, said Meg, and she put a hand to touch her left ear. I will be a princess too. Really? Said the pea, and she gave Meg another quick, deep look, but said nothing else. When Meg finally made her way back down the golden stairs, Louise was waiting for her. How long, she roared, did it take you to deliver a spool of thread to the princess? Too long? Guessed Meg. That's right, said Louise, and she gave Meg a good clap to the ear. You are not destined to be one of our star servants. That is already abundantly clear. No, ma'am, said Meg. That's all right, though, because I aim to be a princess. You? A princess? Don't make me laugh. This, reader, was a little joke in Louise's part, as she was not a person who laughed, ever, not even at a notion as ridiculous as Meggery Sal becoming a princess. We'll read one more chapter today. It's chapter 30, and it's called To the Dungeon. At the castle, for the first time in her young life, Meg had enough to eat, and eat she did. She quickly became plump, and then plumper still. She grew rounder and bigger. Only her head stayed small. Reader, as the teller of this tale, it is my duty from time to time to utter some hard and rather disagreeable truths. In the spirit of honesty, then, I must inform you that Meg was the tiniest bit lazy. And, too, she was not the sharpest knife in the drawer. That is, she was a bit slow-witted. Because of these shortcomings, Louise was hard-pressed to find a job that Meggery Sal could effectively perform. In quick succession, Meg failed as a lady-in-waiting. She was caught trying on the gown of a visiting duchess. A seamstress. She sewed the cloak of the writing master to her own frock and ruined them both. And as a chambermaid, sent to clean her room, she stood open-mouthed and delighted, admiring the gold walls and floors and tapestries, exclaiming over and over again, "Gor, ain't it pretty? Gor, ain't it something then?" and did no cleaning at all. And while Meg was trying and failing at these many domestic chores, other important things were happening in the castle. The rat in the dungeon below was pacing and muttering in the darkness, waiting to take his revenge on the princess. And upstairs in the castle, the princess had met a mouse, and the mouse had fallen in love with her. Will there be consequences? You bet. Just as Meg's inability to perform any job well had its consequences. For finally, as a last resort, Louise sent Meg to the kitchen, where Cook had a reputation for dealing effectively with difficult help. In Cook's kitchen, Meg dropped eggshells in the pound cake batter. She scrubbed the kitchen floor with cooking oil instead of cleanser. She sneezed directly into the king's pork chop moments before it was about to be served to him. "Of all the good-for-nothings I have encountered," shouted the cook, "surely you are the worst, the most cauliflower-eared, the good-for-nothingest. There's only one place left for you, the dungeon." "Eh?" said Meg, cupping a hand around her ear. "You are being sent to the dungeon. You are to take the jailer his noonday meal. That will be your duty from now on." Reader, you know that the mice of the castle feared the dungeon. Must I tell you that the humans feared it too? Certainly, it was never far from their thoughts. In the warm months, a foul odor rose out of its dark depths and permeated the whole of the castle. And in the still, cold nights of winter, terrible howls issued from the dark place, as if the castle itself were weeping and moaning. It's only the wind, the people of the castle assured each other. Nothing but the wind. Many a serving girl had been sent to the dungeon bearing the jailer's meal, only to return white-faced and weeping, hands trembling, teeth chattering, insisting that they would never go back. We have Meg being sent down to the dungeon. And worse, there were whispered stories of those servant girls who had been given the job of feeding the jailer, who had gone down the stairs and into the dungeon, and who had never been seen or heard from again. Do you believe that this will be Meg's fate? Cor, I hope not. What kind of a story would this be without Meg? Listen, you cauliflower-eared fool, shouted Cook. This is what you do. You take the tray of food down to the dungeon and you wait for the old man to eat the food, and then you bring the tray back up. Do you think that you can manage that? I reckon so, said Meg. I take the old man the tray, and he eats what's on it, and then I bring the tray back up. Empty it would be then. I bring the empty tray back up from the deep downs. That's right, said Cook. Seems simple, don't it? But I'm sure you'll find a way to bungle it up. Eh? Said Meg. Nothing, the cook said. Good luck to you. You'll be needing it. She watched as Meg descended the dungeon stairs. They were the very same stairs, reader, that the mouse, Despereaux, had been pushed down the day before. Unlike the mouse, however, Meg had a light. On the tray with the food, there was a single flickering candle to show her the way. She turned on the stairs and looked back at Cook and smiled. That cauliflower-eared, good-for-nothing fool, said Cook, shaking her head. What's to become of someone who goes into the dungeon smiling, I ask you? Reader, for the answer to Cook's question, you must read on. And that's where we're going to leave it today. I hope that you can join me next time. Have fun, guys. Bye.